Buongiorno e benvenuti. Welcome to Art Yoga Pills with me, your host, Dinny. In this space, we will connect and share together about creativity, inner child, and self-awareness. Siete pronti? Enjoy! Ciao a tutti, kia ora, and welcome to a new episode of Art Yoga Pills. Today, I would like to share with you our prison experience because I'm not alone, and I would like to introduce you my co-host for today and there are so many titles. The co-founder of Art Yoga, my soul sister, Giulia. How are you, sis?
Oh, hello, ciao everyone. I'm feeling excited, a little bit nervous, like I'm feeling there is some in my stomach, like there is energy moving in there. So thank you for calling me in this space today.
I'm so grateful that we get to do this and recording it. We've been sharing many things many times in relationship with the topic that we will discuss today. But as soon as I hit the recording button, it feels like a confusion of emotion, not know what to say anymore. But let's see how it goes, and we have the support of each other to decide to pause at any time if we feel not comfortable to go ahead. Yeah, pause. So let's see. For those who are listening right now, and for those who might be interested by the title Prison Experience, yes, we are talking about our own prison experience, but from the point of view of going within the Department of Correction of Auckland to support the community of our pahiere, if I don't mistake, the
Pahiere.
inmates,
Mhm.
with the project of Art Yoga. So we are going back to 2021 when, after a very long extended period of time of lockdown and opening again the country and trying to reach organization and got funded by Auckland Council, we finally managed to arrive within the Department of Correction and share with our group of 10 inmates our project. So the idea of this podcast is to trace back our journey from our personal experience with the respect of the facility and organization who supported us in delivering this dream of ours within the prison, and at the same time sharing with you our personal experience as human beings. I'm not too sure where we wish to start. The first idea that I have, and then tell me, sis, how you're feeling about, is to share perhaps a little bit about what it meant for us to be to the induction, what were things that we remember about that, and the awareness that we needed to have in order for us to actually go inside of the space to be prepared, and then let's see how then the actual experience went. I
Mm.
don't I don't sense to have like exact question to ask you, but the first one was, what do you remember about the induction? What struck to you that was important for you to remember,
Mm.
and then yet you still remember?
Yeah, well, that's I'm hearing that, going with the flow and see how this podcast today will evolve itself. It's really important because yeah, it's been quite a few years has been, has passed and so many things have happened, but yet um, just before actually starting, we did a meditation and just to recall that feeling and that energy that moved through the body as we were going into just even thinking about going to the Department of Correction and bringing, something that for us felt, or at least for myself, I can speak for myself, of course, like very vulnerable. Bringing art and yoga in a place where you had so many other ideas of experience that you might have. But I think something that I would love also to share before even starting the induction, it was the why. Like, why did we choose to go and deliver art yoga in such a yeah, it's such a place, of perhaps completely different from a festival, or in communities that we've been, or just friends. And I guess, and I would love to hear from you as well, for me, the reason why to bring this project into the Department of Correction, it was really to contribute to people's well-being, regardless of the label or the things they have done in life, whether we can label them right or wrong, and really give them the opportunity to experience what feeling relaxed and connected to themselves, and also express their own feelings and emotion in a safe place would have been for them. And also for us, of course, like being there and receiving, not just giving, but also receiving that for them. So for me, it's always been a big purpose in my life to assist people, especially in the vulnerable communities. And so I can't quite recall how we got there, but I remember we were trying to get fundings, and then somehow we thought to bring it in the prison. I'd love to hear if you remember better than me. But that's for me something really important for, that I would love to share in this podcast. The why did we choose to go there? And some, reflecting back that question to you.
Yes, I like this question, and actually makes sense to begin with that. Why? To me, there are two aspects of the why. Why, from the point of view of art yoga or our personal experiences, was keep on creating connection with organization that could have supported us in sharing what we had to offer to the community. And so initially, to me, it didn't matter which organization. I just wanted to do it all the time. The more, the better. The more people we could help, the better. Because at the same time, I was growing personally as well. I was, and I'm still feel sometimes not very confident in expressing myself in front of people, or in situation where I need to be the center of attention. And but that it gave me, like, was pushing me to do something that I really like, with your support as well, to actually do it, not just like dreaming of doing it. And so I recall that we were in lockdown, and I was Googling all the organization that had within their name community, art, or yoga, and see where that was leading me. And the first contact was through Art Access Aotearoa. They say, hey, look, I'm interested in what you're doing. If you want, there is a possibility in prison. Would you like to, are you interested in that? And I think that both of us, we didn't even think about like 1 second. We were like, yes, let's do it. Then, of course, it came like a lot of resistance, doubt, and a lot of laughter, because, of course, sometimes we need to take ourselves a little bit easy, and celebrate also our goofiness. But that was the part to me related to art yoga. Well, the other aspect, I'm resonating with you to the fact that I have a strong belief in what we've been creating together. And there is this sense that I wish for more people to experience it, because it's still hard as the point of view of what art yoga means, that bringing it through the experience that we could have give to people that might not have the same possibility to choose what they want to do, since their choices led them to now this lack of choosing their freedom, but they still have freedom of choosing our program within the space that they are in. And so coming to our class was a win-win, because they had to try something and we could experiment with them. And also the fact that we knew since the beginning there was going to be a group of men, which was not what normally leads people to attend our class. But having such a crowd was also, I guess, opening up doors for us to understand what it means to relate with people that, yet yes, they have choose to be there, but if they were out in the world and not behind bars, would they have chosen the same. So it was a nice way to come together, different people, different background, and see how we could communicate through art and sharing topics that are, for me, important to raise awareness to. So this is what comes to me when I think about that. Thank
Yeah,
you. I really love your question.
I love that we're co-hosting. So,
Yes.
but yeah, I love how you also change, put into two. Our so longing to connect and spread what art yoga was and how much we believed and we're still believing in this project. And then second, the opportunity that came back to us, which was exactly the reflection of one of our value to contribute and to connect people to their creativity. So
Yeah, and to themselves as well through
mhm,
creativity, I think.
yeah. Mhm.
Because I notice within myself how
Mm.
um, more connected to myself I am, not just through this practice, but with everything that this practice led me to explore.
Yeah. And so coming back to your question on the induction day, I have to be honest that I don't have lots of details that I can share about, step by step. It's more like
Yeah.
a story because what I remember was, okay, we had this induction, I arrived and just simply parking my car in the car park of Mount Eden Department of Correction. It was just, I could feel my whole body, like I was feeling nervous and I was starting to sweat and I was just simply going and understand. But feeling the energy of the space and the environment and knowing, what people might have done inside, it was just like activating something in myself. So I remember being there, arrived as always my 10 minutes early than everyone, and that building up my anticipation until I had to go inside. So I remember going inside and being told to not use my phone. And I'm going to try to not laugh so the audio can be good enough. But and and then I remember you were, I think, a little bit late. So I start to be even more into the anticipation and anxiety and okay. So I took my phone and either you call me or I call you, but what I remember is that I got told off. Not even enter the room, told off that I didn't need to use my phone there. Then I remember you arriving and yeah, we stepped into the room where they started to share with us, what I kind of the rules, like the way that I saw it was the rules of the place and all the precautions and being aware of how to handle yourself in that space and the situation that they might have happened. And so I remember just my mind going into all the possible scenarios, like, and I just wish that I had my hot cacao with me and say I'm safe, and I'm safe, and I want to do this because it just brings so much joy in my heart. But my mind starts to feel like the fear and why I'm putting myself into this, and yeah, and the same time feeling strong with you. Wanted to support each other through that. So for me, the induction was really a moment of understanding how the mind works. And if somebody tells you a possible scenario, how my mind can perceive it, and then start to, play that scenario constantly in the mind. I don't want to go too much forward in time because I also would love to, give you the space to share your part of the induction. Because yeah, for me it was being told off and start to think why I'm here. Yeah.
Well, luckily I muted myself because I had the possibility of laughing from this side and remembering my point of view of the story, but also imagining you in the waiting room, not even passing the checking, nothing, just like next to maybe the sign that was saying not to use the phone, and you were replying to me because at the same time I like to be a person that arrived as well 10 minutes early, but didn't calculate that maybe the place didn't have enough spaces to everybody for parking their car. So it took me a while to park the car, which led me to be late and parking in a spot where I remember like where there was a machine to pay, but I was like, do I have to pay to go to prison? Like all the questions that were raising in a moment of stress, and I don't remember luckily if I paid or not, so I cannot give an answer to that. But also not knowing for sure where the entrance was, so finding myself really caught into where do I need to go? There is not an entrance sign, and walking randomly and finding myself in a spot where I was not allowed to be, thinking that was the correct entrance, and being told off as well at the same time as you because I was in a place where I was not supposed to be, and I don't even know how I came to that, situation. And so trying to reach you and give it a go and call you, not knowing that you were inside. And at the same time, we both being told off in different ways for doing something that we were not supposed to. But what I remember about the induction, as you were sharing a little bit as well, is the rules of being aware to be in an environment that needs to be um, led with the rules and obligation for coexistence. That's the word that comes to me. But I remember certain rules specifically because then they play again in the fast forward time when we were in the room with the inmates. And some of the rules I remember that were in relationship to how to connect with them in a way of not having too long eye contact, not having them behind our back, not having um, hand contact, like shaking hands or how it's called, bump fist, I think.
Face bump.
Fist bump. Yeah, like something that could have been a problem of exchanging things through that type of contact, as well as for our type of practice where we are used to use a lot of material, such as pencil, markers, watercolors, collage, so including scissor and glue. We needed to redefine the way that we wanted to share that. I remember as well that there was not the possibility for us to have water, so that was limiting the usage of watercolor or scissor in the case of collage. And so I remember that we had to like take off all the list of items and reduce it to the point where we came in with crayons, which was quite surprising. Like the way we had to choose something and then realize how important the tools that we chose affected the whole room during the practice. So that is kind of what I remember. I'm pretty sure there is way more. But yeah, before I pass it back to you, another thing that I remember based on what you were sharing as well is how our mind imagine many things just because of the word prison and all the movies, I would say, that are related to that topic as well. And so imagining certain situation that they could be part of the reality that we're living in. I'm not saying that these things don't exist, otherwise there wouldn't be a facility such as the prison, but at the same time, creating also movie in our mind, not bringing it back to what was um, the our personal experience. So at that point was just like the pre-context of a reality that yet not existed, that we needed to be aware of with certain rules, and trying to leave aside that aspect of imagination that might comes through the idealization of the reality within prison. This is what comes to me. But I pass it back to you.
Oh, and I just would love to share something that a memory that came up was, and it is interesting because for sure different department has different rules, and also like countries, different countries have different rules. And for me, it was very interesting to notice all like little things that you might not think about, like such as the colors of things that you could wear, because in New Zealand with the gangs and they have different colors, how to not create the stimulus in the environment for the people that are in the inside, but also the people that come from outside. So I'm remembering myself thinking, what I'm gonna do? I wear red glasses. I'm not gonna like either like I put contact lenses or I can change my color of the glasses, but becoming aware of certain things that otherwise you will not do, because you don't need to. So that was for me like, yeah, just the induction already brought me into a much more awareness of life and different reality that we can experience, whether we resonate or not with, with now. So definitely, yeah, that was, yeah, the induction size of it. Yeah, because I think from how we went there the first time with induction, and actually the very first session, more of how we came out from the session, there was, for me, it was the big aha moment of how the mind and words are such a powerful tools that can be used in the positive or in negative way. So I'm wondering if you want to go into, how was the first session? And
Yeah, actually, now that you're sharing about that, I wonder if would be okay with you to focus probably on just the first session, because then the other one we're a little bit more relaxed. We did a total of 4 sessions with 2 different groups within the same facility at 2 different stage, with also 2 different range of people, which are also, it's horrible to say that, but there are many labels, and there are within the prison also different groups that are there for different reasons, but most likely different stages of where the journey took them. So
is
yeah,
the
just
charge is the charge of the,
thank you.
yeah.
Yeah, the first word that was coming to me was they were categorized, but was really horrible, and I didn't know how to. Yes, different charges, and so different places where they are allocated. This sounds much better. Yeah, the ability of translating everything simultaneously from our Italian thoughts to English now comes like in a way that I'm hoping to be as respectful as possible to everybody. So I'm glad that we are two once again in the experience. But yeah, maybe we can start sharing what we remember before, during, and after. And I think that here it can be a little bit freestyle. Doesn't necessarily have to be like in chronologic order. Just feel free to share what you wish to share, and then from there we can keep on doing that and asking ourselves questions if we have. Um, and see how it goes to share our
Mm,
personal experience with with ourselves in prison.
definitely, yeah, I'm happy to start. Because yeah, for me again, I remember myself arriving in the morning with my little red car. Also, that was red. I was like, whoa, okay. And really needed to have that 10 minutes of meditation to settle my mind and really bring in, the energy, the frequency that I wanted to be in, to be really in coherence, but also be present with myself and them in delivering the messages that we wanted to deliver, and yeah, to not allow the mind to run too fast, or this, the thoughts, the subconscious mind. So I remember sitting in the car and just, I think you actually joined me at that time. You arrived 10 minutes early like me.
I remember to have done with you a meditation. I don't remember if it was our second session or the first one, but I definitely remember, and that was really useful. I tend to anticipate quite a lot, and grounding myself through even just like 10 minutes in the car was very beneficial to be able then to host such a space for our participant.
Yeah, it's absolutely like a relief. Grounding, it's so important in any high level demands energy, because our body goes directly into stress mode, and that, you know, activate that, which is not actually helpful for our immune system and for our whole, you know, being to function. And so like I found, yeah, sitting there for 10 minutes allowed me to be more in acceptance of how things would have gone. And so then I remember entering, putting aware that not to use my phone, put the things in the locker, and just passing the the metal detector, I think is the name. Yeah. So what only we had was paper, crayons, and my singing bowl, which I demand to have my singing bowl with me, because I so wanted them to experience the you know, the frequency of the singing bowl, and also, you know, chanting the mantra ohms using that as well. Because also I remember we could only bring one CDs, which it didn't work because the CD player was not working. So at least I'm glad that I had that I could rely on and know the power of the just bringing that presence with the sound. And then I remember, yeah, just walking along these corridors with feeling all the information that I received during this induction. So becoming really aware of somebody was passing, that I was really looking up, even if I was not doing it, but really noticing myself looking for the wall, or thinking, oh, do I have to, you know, put my back against the wall? Just even noticing my mind, whether I was gonna do it or not. And then we arrived to the main the facility where we were going to do the class, but we had to go into the room where all the uh, police, I don't even know what their name is in this moment, it's not coming up, but you know, all the people were like monitoring and the rooms, and just stepping in there, I could sense this frequency so dense and heavy that I knew that something was happening already. And I said, okay, what it is. And I remember us being there for quite a long time, because they were that day decided to check all the cells and doing a big inspection. And I don't remember if they found something in somebody. So we were like being held in that room with, like, we could see the outside, but they couldn't see us. So sometimes I remember like people coming really close to the wall and checking, and yeah, I remember just kept on going to the toilet to be with myself and not like change the environment. Even if I was in the same environment, I needed to change. And yeah, I remember just even being there in the toilet at some point, I found that I had Blue Lotus, and I know that it was like everything that was so intense. I really needed to slow down and breathe. Yeah, and this one, well, because this is my experience, and I would love to hear from you, you know, what was your vision? And we mentioned one time to doing with pictures or like a story, because, you know, that's my story, that's my narrative. And then finally they decide, okay, we could go. And we went, but I remember we didn't have anyone with us, like this guard that was needed to be with us. So just say, okay, you can go. And we arrived and the door was open. And I just remember 10 big men started to come in the room, that they wanted to help us to set up the room. But again, I went in my mind and I started to think, oh my God, this is not good. This is not right. We are exactly not doing what, and they wanted to come and, you know, connect with us. But I was just looking at you, Dinny. I was like trying to have eye contact, what we're doing here. And then what I remember, and it was actually thanks to the meditation that we just did before starting to record, was the sensation of breathing and accepting that I was exactly where I needed to be. I felt safe. I felt that I was just in my mind, and that my whole body was actually more relaxed and excited than my mind was. And so I remember taking just this deep breath and say, oh, if we're gonna be told off, it's okay. So I invite them to, I start to become myself again and being, smiling and chatting with everyone. And I say, yes, please help us to put the tables and passing the papers and crayons. And we just put the crayons on the table like that. Remember that, the CD player was not working. I was so grateful that I brought my singing bowl, and then the class started. And even just how it started, that one of the men stood up and wanted to open with a karakia to create a safe space for us to feel, at home, and to feel that we were there, that we were being seen for our intention. So for me, that so much in my heart. Even just telling now, I can sense this. So I feel this expansion in my chest and warmth. And I remember we brought the class of drawing yourself as a superhero as the first one. So, which it was interesting how it was quite easy for some of them and challenging for others. Yet how everybody was drawing, how everybody was so present in what they were doing, and not so much aware of the outside. We remember that there was this glass so people could see what we were doing inside. I don't know if they could hear, but they could see us. And just sensing them being there drawing, it was beautiful. Like I felt back in, in the festival or in the community that we used to, deliver our session. But the things that for me was the most, when I came out, when we finish actually, that we ask all the time to say what they're grateful for and write it down on the piece of paper. And I think I will never forget when one of the men said, I'm grateful that you girls brought colors in the space. And for me, that moment, I saw colors. I saw the room like being a rainbow, and like I was really acknowledge what we brought, because it's true, it was just green and gray. That was the only colors that until like I didn't notice it until that moment. We're so used to having colors around that then you go in an environment where perhaps there are just a few colors and it seems normal. For me, it was normal. I could sense the sadness and the, not so much higher frequency, but, being, how do you say, like, it's not coming the word, but having the awareness, from another person of the gift that we gave to them just by simply bringing colors. That was already like there was so much joy and gratitude. So I think I'm gonna, for now, love to hear your side, because that's the main things that are coming right now. Perhaps something will come after, but how was your experience?
Well, thank you for sharing yours, because it brought to me a flashback as well, and sensation in my body as well of those moments. I remember as you the fact of being in, I think they are officers. I don't know if that would be the way that they call each other, but being in this tiny space where all the officer had an overview through cameras and could be in contact with one another to know what was happening, and from there to be in the overview of, we were like in the dining room, like in the middle of their dining room, or at least where there are tables. We could see the doors, we could see the floors, and we could see the inmates. And as you said, they couldn't see us, but this didn't diminish the sensation that I was experiencing inside, knowing that we were so close to the moment that we were dreaming of, and yet part of me didn't want to be there at all. Just wanted to disappear and regret all the effort that we make in order to be there in that moment. I've noticed how challenging it was for me to face certain doubts that I have about myself and my ability to offer what I want to offer. And in such a place where I had the idea, the assumption that was going to be criticized, it felt quite powerless for me to be in such a position. But yet, knowing that there was no coming back, and I needed to be there in order to face something that supported me to grow. I also remember to go back and forth to the toilet several times and looking at myself in the mirror of the toilet and say, "Oh, I can't believe I'm here. I why did I decide to do this?" A little bit like when you are in the queue of a roller coaster. You want to go on, but you don't want to be there at the same time. So that was the feeling that I was experiencing at that time. And I remember as well that when we've been escorted to the place where they normally eat, which is within the same space. But yes, there is that glass door that define the space that we are from everybody else. We were trying to set up the space. And then when our group came in, I remember I just shut down. Like my mind was just rehearsing all the things that I couldn't do. And so in order to follow those rules, I didn't need to move and do nothing else but staring at the table in front of me and said, I cannot be here. I need to be against the wall. I cannot to look at anybody. I cannot touch anybody. So I was just like saying to myself all the things that I was not allowed to, not even allowed to be myself in such a space where they could see me and I was supposed to be the facilitator or the co-facilitator. So I found a lot of resistance in the way that I felt I needed to be perceived and what was actually my reality telling me, and facing all these things just by allowing myself to be open. So once I stopped to be in that fight, flight, freeze mood, I started to perceive what I was asked to. So they were asking if they could support us, if there was something that they could do for us, because they knew the space more than we knew the space itself. So they could actually do it faster. They were a group of 10 and they knew where things were. So why not to be there in supporting us in doing such a thing? But just because of all these things that we've been told to be aware of, I notice myself being at the extreme of that awareness, but at the same time, not being able to do anything else to face that moment until maybe, I would say that for me it was ages, but maybe it was just like a couple of seconds. And then I remember that, yes, there was this person that opened the space for us, but I also remember that I wanted to share my karakia, and my experience of tereo at the moment was very poor. But yet I knew that I wanted to honor their land through my offering. And I remember, of course, because in that moment I still didn't want it to be there, and I, despite of Giulia finding herself quite comfortable in opening herself up to the space and start to engage, I was still in the mood where I wanted to be invisible. So opening the space was a big thing that I needed to face, and I remember that my voice was shaking quite a lot. I remember that, of course, I might have made some mistakes, but succeed in delivering what I wanted to deliver, to a little bit also to be accepted in that space. I remember that was beautiful what we were offering, because there is a lot of freedom, there is a lot of choices, there is a lot of empowerment in the way that they can connect to themselves through the space that we do together. But also what I remember is the support that they were giving to each other. We opened the space in a way that there is a little bit of connection of who they are, and in that case, just like how they are feeling in on the day, in that moment, how they were feeling. and noticing how they were supporting each other when one of them felt a little bit shy to open up and even say a few words. And the same thing happened at the end when we reopened the space for them to share if they wanted to, and noticing how they were supporting each other in that too, not just like through the artwork, which for us is not um, the main aspect of what they want to share, is more about the experience, because not just like within the prison, but within the old communities that we've been collaborating and working with, I notice how much there is a lot of resistance towards ourselves and our ability to be creative, and not considering ourselves as artists. So going back to a space where was full of crayon, full of freedom, sense of um, play, like play with what we are able to do as adults, with trying to bring back the awareness of the inner child as well, how much support there was in that space to which was not something that I was considering in a facility where we might imagine that there is a lot of tension and possible fights with between people, especially because they come together and they might be together coming from a background of different side, perhaps also of gangs or different story. But within that space, I've noticed how much support there was between each other, and then, well, I don't have a clear picture of how the session was, because I noticed myself being several time in, again, the freezing mode and not recording the process, and noticing how uncomfortable I was with silence and the need of constantly check what was happening, not being fully relaxed also in the experience of coloring, and not because I was afraid of what was going to happen, but because prolonged period of silence among a group, and the idea that within this group normally there is a need of interaction through communication, and being in that space that is non-verbal because everybody's concentrating in the process and enjoying and choosing the colors and choosing the shapes that they want to create, silence is required, and not being comfortable too much in that space. And then I remember the end. I remember that they fill up for us beautiful form that we needed to submit for our project through the local board that supported financially to give a records of the experience that we could monitor, since we were not allowed to take pictures. And just how after that formal process, they start to came to us just to thank them for the experience, of course, because of that lack of interaction, sort not lack of interaction, but lack of touch connection through touch. It was hard to be there and just like constantly being grateful and say thank you, but not being able to do much more than that. Um, and yet having that famous fist bump with a person that really wanted to show his appreciation towards the time that he had with us. And I think probably the same person telling me that next time that I was going to perform a karakia, there was not a need for my voice to be so shaky. And me explaining to the same person that I trying to be as steady as possible, but I was about to cry. And that was the reason why my voice was so shaky. And that's why then he fist bumped me, like to support me in my strength, in my own strength, in being able to show my vulnerability with this person. And that to me was a beautiful confirmation that we are all human beings. So yeah, that's what what I remember of the experience,
Mm,
our first experience within the
mm.
facility.
Yeah, you touch such a beautiful part of the human, the touch, how important it is, and how often, we express appreciation and gratitude by, hugging or, yeah, or like hugging. And I mean, I'm a hugger. So for me, it was really challenging to express how grateful I was also for them to be there and to choose to be part of that program, um, but not be able to. And so finding a different way on just simply like acknowledging um, acknowledging the thank you and just allowing that to be settled in my body, in the mind, in the heart. Yes, so I love to hear your experience. I don't think we ever shared in this way. I knew I felt yourself looking, staring at the white table, but I didn't remember us like talking about it afterwards. It was more, I remember the excitement and the empowerment that I felt, and I would love to hear, how it was for you coming out from the institute. I felt I was taller, my voice was much clearer. I was like, I can go and nothing will stop me. I've done this, nothing will stop me. So yeah, I would love to hear how it was for you to come out from that.
Yes, I'm happy to share that. But before that, I would like to check in with you about the time. I know that we might be towards the end. So I will reflect about that with you, and then I would like to offer you your conclusion, your insight, and something that you wish to offer to whoever is listening to this experience. What was for you your takeaway from this experience that you would like to repropose to us today? And then I can do the same. But to reply to your question first, I felt exactly like you. I felt that I was empowered, that my voice was clearer afterwards, and then that sense of being unstoppable, knowing that I have my own life and my own experiences in my own hands, and wanted to offer that to the world even more than before, knowing that what we had to offer and the opportunity that we had was so powerful that give us all the ability of opening up to life in a different way. So once I go back to that experience, I feel so empowered, and also the sense that I'm proud of myself without the need of confirmation by anybody else. That's something that is alive in me in this moment when I recall that back. And the more I'm connecting with that experience, the more I can keep on projecting the same for my present and my future.
Thank you. That's beautiful. I feel like, yeah, as a conclusion, it's really empowering to share with whoever is going to listen the podcast, our own insight and the message that we want to share, because we might inspire somebody else. They have the same feeling, the purpose of contribute to, especially the vulnerable community, yet not feeling that confidence or self-esteem. And yeah, hopefully this story that we've been telling today has inspired someone to say, like being scared, thinking that you're doing exactly the opposite of what your mind is telling you, and thinking that who are you that you're going to go and tell, and share with other people about this. You can do it. We all have a gift to share. We all have something to really make an impact to the world, to the community. um, because yeah, for me, the insight that I had, that I would love to share for sure is, yeah, the power of the mind, and how important is to keep stay true with your vision and your heart. And especially, your heart knows things the mind sometimes that cannot understand. And if you are in the fear, and the things that you've been listened to might close you up, just stay through truth to your heart. um, Also, the word fear, I'm now changing it into feeling excited and ready. Fear I don't see as a negative or unpleasant feeling. Might be a little bit uncomfortable, but it can be turned into action, and it can be feeling really excited and ready to step into what you want to bring. And another one, it's about yet really acknowledging the contribution. Even if we think that is a small contribution, it can make such a big impact to another person. So that's something that, yeah, I would love to share. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing your one. I think that just to add on that, because I resonate with everything you shared, and the intention that we might have had, even just through this episode, to inspire people to make empowering decisions that can support us in making choices in the way that they want to connect to themselves and to others. And also the ability of perceiving this equality, as we are all human beings. Not necessarily everybody needs to go to prison to experience what it means to be open to the other person, whoever this person is. And this doesn't mean it is not related with being agree or not agree with someone. It's more about the our ability and our capacity to be open, even if um, we are coming, like, to take in consideration many factors that made a person that person. It is not just what we see, but is also, yes, their action, but many other layers that might include the past, the present, cultural, social, historical, family, community behaviors that we've been implementing in the way that we all been growing up and becoming who we are today. But if we keep that capacity, whatever it means to us today, to be open to the other, we might increase our capacity to create connection and interconnection, instead of putting that wall up that might might not be that useful as we think it is, to support one another in whatever way works for us, in whatever capacity we have today in this moment. So I guess this is what is alive in me as a conclusion of my experience.
Yeah, I mean, people are not able to see it, but I just put a love heart because it's so true. To go behind what the eyes can see and just, yeah, tap into the person and their soul, their heart, and then whatever how the life shaped them, experiences, conditions, beliefs, there is still so much beauty in it. So do not
Mm,
forget that. Mm.
thank you, sis.
Thank you. I really enjoyed to recall this experience. It was actually need in this moment, in this right moment, really important for myself. So
Thank you
thank
so
you.
much. I felt exactly the same on so many levels. Going back to something that it happens 2 years ago and noticing how it's still empowering me in this moment and supporting me in creating that ripple effect that we wish to create in order to contribute for social change, personal and socially. So it has been a really nice way to bring back also a lot of laughter in situations that were quite challenging for us, and see how we could navigate life. In our case, with the support of each other, but also standing proud within ourselves and acknowledging our own mana. So yeah.
Mm, yeah, I hope.
And well, just to conclude the space for whoever is listening in this moment, I really hope for you to be inspired. If you have questions that you wish to ask us in relationship with this project or many other things that we are contributing to in our journey, I will leave all our details below the description of this podcast. So you might wish to connect both of us or just one of us and get to know each other even more than just this hour that we've been sharing in this moment. Any final words, sis?
Yeah, definitely, because I would love, if there is anyone that has an idea or even a concept and is still need to wish to navigate that and finding tools or strategy and practices can assist you in that. I'm so, yeah, open and with so much like open hearted to assist anyone in this. So whether you're contacting us as Art Yoga or separately, don't stop yourself. If you have any dreams, just share with us. Let's make
Yes,
it real.
I will share our individual contact as well, like through social media. So if anybody wish to get to know us more or get to know this experience more, we are here for you. So thank you and enjoy the rest of your day. Ciao.
Grazie. Ciao.
Grazie per averci fatto compagnia. We hope you enjoyed your time with us. If you wish to stay updated and connected, visit us on our social media channels and our website www.artyoga.co. Ci sentiamo presto. Ciao! See you!